Okay guys, this is me doing a punchy intro. These are fundamentals that I see actually helping people in the field, rather than arbitrary teachers' egos fundamentals, which you hear all the time, many of which don't actually make any difference. These are a couple of tips that will help you reduce fatigue, stay on target, shoot better, reduce vertical. Hi guys, Richard from SharpShootingUK, coming back to you with a new video after a bit of a break. I won't bore you with why, but it's been complicated for everyone around the world. But I'm hoping to bring weekly videos throughout the month of March this year, get some of these interesting topics sorted. Let's get on with business. Here we are. Let's say that I am here making a long-range precision shot. I want to explain to you something that I come across all the time when I'm teaching long range at SharpShootingUK in the UK. Now, I feel that a lot of teachers, they enforce their own egos on their students. I do it this way, therefore this is what you must do. And I've just got no time for that. I teach hundreds of people a year, and what I've discovered is there are certain things that are quick fixes for many shooters. Now, I'm not going to bang on about my trigger technique if you're not having a problem. I watch and I see what trips people up. What trips people up as they go further is a sort of opening up of their accuracy. And if you don't know better, a lot of people think that that's all that is really deliverable. I mean, they may still be shooting fox-sized targets, coyote-sized targets at 600 yards. But then if you show them that you could be hitting little tiny, 2-inch pebbles out there, they're like, oh, I'm muck spreading a bit. And what it is, when you want to really get the gun to sing, is you've got to let the gun recoil cleanly. In summary, the problem they're having is one with their mount. Not their trigger pull, not this, not that. It's the way the rifle recoils. If you are talking about a rifle that isn't specific to long range precision, like say a sort of a stalking, hunting type rig, and the angles and the bipod and everything isn't quite optimal, then this will come in earlier and worse. But even with the best long range rigs in the world, you've still got to be careful with a few things. So let me break it down as to what exactly I'm meaning. I'm talking really about recoil control, follow through, the next shot being visible without the muzzle having moved a very great deal. I'm talking about natural point of aim. It's front end, so bipod. It's the position of the shooter on the rifle, and it's the rear bag and how the gun, that whole system, works for you shot to shot. So I'm going to put the camera on a tripod, and I'm going to see if I can explain some of this to you with me on the rifle. Okay, now I'm hoping that will give you the right sort of view for what I'm saying. Okay, so I've got lavalier mic on, hopefully you'll be able to hear me. So, as we shoot, this gun is going to recoil back, and that may move the point of aim significantly. So it is more accurate if the gun can recoil back through a channel. Now, I know this isn't always doable when you're, say, foxing off the bonnet of your car, but you've got to remember that for those shots, this level of precision isn't needed. For me, you have to start geeking out about the rear support and the straightness of the recoil by sort of sub half-minute shots after 500 yards. There's no point laying out all of this perfection for a 2-minute shot, which you don't have a lot of time on. You have to make the right degree of effort to make the shot at hand. And this is not something that you need on the close stuff. But by the same token, you can't do your foxing shot that you're used to off your bonnet or off your sticks when you're trying to hit the end of a Coke can at 900 yards. You have to work out what level of care and therefore time you need for each shot. Look at the Precision Rifle series guys. They crank through the easy shots real fast. They don't waste a moment on them. And then they take much more time than you'd think on the hard shots. That's the key. Roll out the level of care that the shot requires, and no more, or you're just being slow. But you can't not make the right effort, or you're going to miss. So on the long stuff, you've really got to get down into the weeds, and the rear control is key. So a perfect rest would be no tension in the legs. Now imagine you've got an old Harris bipod. As you turn for your target, it's very tempting to just twist a bit. Your gun is now torqued. That is going to, on recoil, flick and affect your accuracy. And when you're talking about getting below a half minute at longer ranges, this is the stuff you've got to sort out. You want your gun to come back like it's on a set of train tracks. Look what the long range competition guys are doing with the carpet on the front legs and the lubricated rear end. You know, everything is designed to track straight back, and that's what we've got to emulate in the field. So we want stress-free front end. See my video on bipods. I won't go over it again, but getting out of the old springy Harris is a very good idea. Modern bipods, they're more modular, and that helps, you know, leg extensions, different feet, etc. But fundamentally, they don't hold stress in them, hold torque in them, and then unload it on recoil, nor do they jump so much on recoil. The rear technology has moved forward there. So let's say the front end is in order. This is what everyone thinks you should be using. This is a small multi-purpose barricade bag. It's called a barricade bag. It's for a barricade. This is so that when you are shooting off a stone wall, you don't put the gun on the wall. You put the gun on something, and that is better. This is not a rear bag. And the reason is straightforward. Your rear bag does two jobs, two of them. One is get the gun at the height you need. And that is way better than your hand, or worst case, machine gun style. That is unacceptable. And a lot of the ex-military guys, you have to really say to them, you don't hold the butt in your shoulder. You don't steer the rear. The bag has to do this. Now, that does that first job well. Gets you on target with regard to rear support. What it does not do, worth a damn, is straighten the recoil pulse. So any tension at the front shakes out at the back. It shakes its head, as it were, back here. So any problems in the system, bearing in mind that shooting in the field is not optimal. We're not on a set of perfect seb rests, we're not on train tracks, but we have to get the gun to shoot straight, recoil straight, and that is not easy when you're on lumpy, bumpy stuff, etc., etc. So we have to try our best, and the best way to do that is to have an ear system. So something like that, you'll be fine till 500 yards, and then you try and hold it all together beyond that, and you'll start to see an opening up, particularly in vertical, towards a minute plus. If you want to hit rabbit headshots at 700 yards, you're not going to be able to do it on that repeatably. Furthermore, you make your shot, you've squeezed your bag a little bit, you make your shot, okay, you're all zoomed in at many mag, small target, long way away, hard to find on the hill. You make your shot, we discuss the ballistics, you roll away from the gun, you break your shoulder contact, you have a look at your watch, you have a look at your kestrel, and then you go back to your gun, and because the bag has sagged, where are you? You've now got to zoom out, when in doubt, zoom out. Find the target again, that small, tiny little target, just a few inches across, half a mile away. You've got to find it again, get on target, make your shot again. Then you let go of the bag, it's all gone. Same story for a sloppy bipod, you know, or loads of loading. Some people think that loading really aggressively is good. Well, it can be accurate, really dominating the recoil by digging in, say, spikes and really loading the gun. That can be really accurate. I've seen people shoot well with it. Problem is, one, you can't repeat it on a sliding surface. So you can't do that on a concrete, you can't do it on a car bonnet, so you've got an inconsistency in your mount now. And two, when you release the gun, where's it point? God knows where, totally different. So what I propose is this: once you get into long range precision, as I say, I'm defining that by half minute or less beyond 500 yards, what you need to do is sort the rear out. So this is a classic eared bag. That's fine. You see here I've put a bag rider on. This is actually adjustable for height, which is a lovely little system from ABR. That's one way of skinning the cat. But if the bag snags on, everyone's into tactical rifles these days, that's great, but they often have bits of Picatinny down here, and that just grabs on the bag, stops the recoil, and the gun flicks. And this stuff really matters. It happens very quickly, but it really, really matters, both with regard to your gun staying on target so you can make a rapid follow-up, which is just logistically useful, and two, it being fundamentally a more accurate, stress-free shot, emulating that oomph, train track straight back that the target guy's always looking for. So we've got option one. Now, if this has a big soft bottom, it will inevitably round out over time. It turns into a football, which is about as much use as a chocolate tea kettle. So we need solid base. Solid base here, I couldn't get the one I wanted. I just glued a bit of board on, but solid base you must have. Now, another way to get the rear sorted is an adjustable bag rider, which of course means that you can fine tune the elevation with that. Of course, you can slide the bag forward or back, which is another way of doing it, but there's a limit to how far you can do that. But I'm digressing into another subject here, but that's another way of doing it, is to get an adjustable bag rider, base which goes up and down nice and smooth. That's another way of doing it. That is, that's all very useful, good stuff, but fundamentally what we're talking about here is the ears. Okay, the idea being that we get on target, and I'm going to lie down in a minute and show you what I mean at the front there, because the coarse adjustment is always done at the front, and then the fine tweaks are made at the rear, because you have less adjustment range at the rear, and there's only a certain amount that you can get there, whereas you can get many inches at the front. So we'll get to that, but what we're looking to do is stress-free legs, straight, gun recoils back, and it's channeled. Any propensity to whip left and right, which I call shaking its head, is reduced. The gun is supported without you needed, and what that means is you make your shot, the gun doesn't want to jump out of its skin, which means you can watch it in the air, which is fundamentally important to being able to make good decisions and quickly. You're able to see your shot, and then if you were to need to switch mag or make a change on your watch, break your shoulder contact, come back, and the gun is still completely on target because it's entirely supported at the rear. Think how different that is to that. You get on target, put the gun down. Where are we shooting now? We've got to find the whole target again. Now this is a useful mix. So your problem with your bags is they weigh a ton, and it bugs me having to carry all of that up the hill to make long range shots. You know, you want to keep the kit light and to a minimum, and needing all these different size bags or a single bag and a lifter, it's uncool. The bench rest guys don't care because they're, you know, but we out in the field, it's always been a problem. And then a client of mine has invented this. So it's got proper ears, but it folds right down to something really light. And yet, when you get it on target like that, that's nice and low. It's a low bag. Undo that, lift this up, and it will go quite high. And also, my favourite feature about it, if you've got a sporting stock, you can angle this to match the angle of the butt so that you get clean, stress-free recoil without it weighing 15 pounds like a sandbag. So I like this a lot. I'll put a link to these. These are a couple of £100, and really it is replacing a low, a medium and a high bag, which is certainly worth more money than that and a great deal more weight, or a low bag and a lifter. So I like these very much. And you're looking at a lot of advantages: height adjustability, channeling with regards to straight recoil, easy adjustability in the field with that little simple thing there. And this is also very good on stones in that this rubber grip sort of finds a way on stones, whereas a hard base bag tends to rock, and then you need a pizza crust bag stabilizer to sort them out. So I like this very much, but by hook or by crook, we need to make sure that the gun is coming back dead straight. And then I'm going to show you something else that I feel is very important as well. So I'm going to hit pause now, change view, and I'll show you a couple of other things that are really important to maintaining natural point of aim on the hill, which is something that I teach almost everyone through the door. If they're having no problem with everything else, I'll leave them be. I don't care how you pull the trigger. And more importantly, I don't see snatched triggers, different grips making a jot of bloody difference. Whereas I see rear control handing people their ass every client through the door. So this is, I think, something that is a universal concept. So when you're going small and you're going long, that's got to be left behind. And you've got to move on to proper rests. And those proper rests need to channel the recoil through a bag rider in a straight line, and the system be stress-free so you can roll away from it, roll back, and it's still on target. Excellent. I've just watched that footage back, and in all my winter gear I look about 39 stone, but luckily I'm not vain. I'm going to lie down on the rifle and show you something that I feel is very important for maintaining natural point of aim, reducing fatigue as you get stressed and tired through the day. Okay guys, so I'm on the rifle making my shot. Okay, so we're on the rifle, making our shot. Okay, everything's stress-free and nice. We've got our bubble level. We've made our course adjustments with the front end, fine adjustments on the rear, by whatever means that is. Squeezing the bag is the worst. An adjustable bag rider is super, but expensive because you need one on every gun. You can use an adjustable rear rest, or you can use a bag lifter. You get on target. Now, this is what I'm talking about. We now are going to shoot. Now we've got a mag in, tally-ho, shot one. What a lot of people will do at that point is go, oh, what do you think about that? Blah, 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 blah. Or I need to change my ballistics. I need to do this. I need to reload my mag. What I propose is that you stay on the gun. Get that shoulder contact, make your shot, all right? And then make your next shot. Talk to people from here. You can lift your head. Hello mate, what did you think about that? Bit more wind? Da 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 da. I'll just have a look at my watch. There we go. And all the time I'm staying on the rifle, keeping my shoulder contact. I'm reducing fatigue. I'm not getting up all the time. Right, I'm out of bullets. Let's reload another mag. Drop the mag, get your bullets, which are just here, stress-free, load your mag, put your mag back in. There is no need to get up 50 times a day. And when you do, you'll be more fatigued. And when you come back and you change your angle that you were lying at slightly, you get all comfortable, gun move. So you've got natural point of aim and everything is stress-free. It won't have moved much. That's super. But the tension you then put on the gun, unless you are colossally experienced, will be minutely different. And that is not insurmountable. Obviously we do it all the time when we come to the gun and away from the gun and back to the gun, but it is better on lots of levels. Fatigue, and as I say, accuracy is always going to be best if you haven't broken your shoulder contact. So what I'm talking about, guys, is shoot in strings. Okay guys, slight loss of sound there when I was lying on the ground, so I'll go through that again. We were talking about shooting in strings, which reduces the amount that you lift your head, breaking your shoulder contact, changing the tension, and minutely affecting your accuracy, but also significantly affecting the ease of finding the target shot to shot and reducing your fatigue also. So we stay down, and I want also to show you how you stay down when you're moving to a new position and how you go about energy efficiently finding that new target, because finding a new target on the hill is the single most frustrating thing that my clients find. Obviously you've got their learning all about the ballistics and little marksmanship tricks like we've been talking about here, but logistically on the day, shooting tiny targets a long way away on an unfamiliar hill, what actually people find frustrating and tiring is finding the target with their eyes, with the binoculars, then translating that to the rifle. And that stresses people out and tires them, and there's a smoother way to do it. So let's start going through that. Let me sit down again here, do my 39 stone look. We are finding the target in the distance. We glass it with the binos, okay? But don't just go, yep, got it, and then dash off. You've got to actually take a second to take some reference points in your mind's eye, going from binocular to Mark 1 eyeball to binocular. Take it just a couple of seconds to place it on the hill. Then you get your rifle, and before you get into position, physically point the barrel roughly at the target. So we're going from over there to over there, and then ascertain whether you're going up or down from your last position. I'm, in this example, going to come down. We're lower down the hill, so I'm going to take a couple of notches off the bipod while I'm here, because that's more energy efficient than doing it lying down. So now get on the rifle, make sure everything's straight, tension in the legs, bearing in mind when you're looking from above you can see the alignment of the legs better than when you're prone, so get the legs straightened out. Now let me move this mic, excuse me. Okay, there's the mic. Sorry. Okay, so now we should be in the ballpark of finding the target, especially if you zoom out. If you're on 50 mag, you're not going to have a lot of perspective. So zoom out, get on target, find where you are. Now, if you need to make another adjustment here, a course adjustment, then it needs to be at the front. There's only a limited amount at the rear. So if we need to, say, move another leg on the bipod, this is how easy it should be. Okay, eyes on target, reach forward, adjust the bipod, Bear in mind, you don't have to do both legs. If you want to do a half step, just do one and then re-level it. So, re-level it. And all of this should be within reach. If you have to get up like this, onto your knees, forward, adjust it, and back down, it's going to be a very long day. Okay? So, and also militarily, I might not know what I'm talking about here, but this is a much bigger silhouette, isn't it? To be spotted. Maybe that's relevant. So, if you can do it from down here, we're cooking with gas. And the main thing I'm talking about here is put the bipod at the end of your arm. This is one of those fundamentals that makes a difference to everyone. The bipod goes at the end of your arm from your prone position without you breaking your shoulder contact. If you have to get up, it's going to be a very long day. You've got to be able to reach forward, adjust your bipod, head down without breaking your shoulder contact. So, sort of fundamental rule 1, rear support. There's 2 types of rear support. The support that gets you on for height, anything will do. The dog would do, your foot would do, you know. Bean bags, barricade bags, they'll get you on for height, better than nothing. Then, past 500 yards, you've got to switch into pro mode, which means a flat-based heavy bag, if you're talking about sandbags, so it doesn't roll around like a football like the cheaper ones. Or by some means, some sturdy rear support. I've shown you a few options. And then that must have ears that are straight and channel the gun. So if you have a lumpy bottom end on your stock, like say a chassis rifle with a big chunk of Picatinny or something, get yourself a bag rider on there. That's the first thing I say to people with your AIs and the older types of chassis. I mean, they all come with them now, but get a bag rider on there. And then you put that in the ears so that they slide perfectly stress-free front to back, like a BR rifle, and you are going to shoot great. More than that, you're going to be able to find the target on the next shot because the gun won't jump out of its skin and start pointing at a completely different part of the hill. And this is stuff that I see day in, day out, stressing people out. Add to that, stay down on the gun when you're doing menial tasks. So that's loading mags, changing your wind, talking to your partners, fiddling with settings. Okay, stay down on the rifle unless you absolutely have to get up and break that shoulder contact. It's less energy, better shooting, much better way of doing it all. You're going to wear yourself out getting up and down 100 times a day. Okay, so stay down, keep everything in reach. So put your bullets where you can reach them, put your bipod at the end of your arm, not the end of the gun. All this stuff adds up. All right, so that for me is some no BS fundamentals that I see helping 9 out of 10 shooters. And a lot of the other things that you hear are completely crucial. I don't see that holding people back. And my standards are real high. So take it from me, work out your front and rear support so they work in unison and they channel the gun. Use the natural point of aim technique where you don't load massively, just take the slack out of the system and make sure it's stress-free so that it can recoil straight back and stay on target. Then you will have a much easier life. When you're shooting high precision, try and stay on the shoulder, on the butt pad, stay down in your position through the pertinent number of shots, even if you have to reload the mag. While that string is happening, try not to break the shoulder contact, because all these little percentages, they add up, both with regard to accuracy and with regard to fatigue. So I hope that helps. There's lots more technical videos coming out in the next 6 weeks before my season starts. I would like to say I'll do loads through the summer, but I won't because I'm shooting too much. But next winter, I won't be moving house. COVID should be over. Kids should be in school as normal. life should be back to normal, and I should be able to do a lot more videos from, you know, earlier on in the winter season. So thanks for listening, guys. Really appreciate it. I'm going to say like and subscribe at the end of the video. It drives me mad when people say it straight out the gate before you know whether they're full of shit or not. And yeah, keep tuned. Many thanks.